The Queen's Gambit. Season 1 Episode 7. The last part begins with Beth and her real mother. When they go to her father's new house, and her mother begs for Beth's help, but Beth's father tells them to leave and she leaves. Julian arrives at Beth's house. She tells Beth that Mr. Shebel is dead and has been called to the funeral. Julian looks at the bathroom drawer, where there are drugs. Beth admits that if she didn't go to Russia, she would drink all the alcohol. Julian knows that Beth needs to train, but Beth only needs alcohol. Julian tells her she needs to test herself and presents her with a gift. This is the book he stole from the orphanage. Beth and Julian go to their orphanage. Beth doesn't want to go in, but she still attends the last rites. After the last rites, Beth changes her mind and goes to the orphanage. She walks around the place and realizes old memories. In the basement, Beth looks at the many pieces of newspapers that contain news of Beth's success. These are Mr. Shebel's. Beth returns with Julian, taking a picture of herself and Mr. Shebel. The Christian Crusade organization meets with Beth, and she wants Beth to speak out against communism because she thinks communism spreads atheism. Beth refuses to comment because she doesn't feel like a Christian. Organization officials aren't happy that Beth disobeyed, especially when they've paid her. Beth returns the money to them. She calls Benny later, and Benny thinks Beth is crazy. Beth asks Benny if he has the money to help Beth, but he insists he doesn't have the money. Benny is upset with Beth for not returning to New York. Beth needs funds, so she tries in high authority and banks. While playing squash with Julian, she admits that she made a mistake by buying a house. Julian says she will pay for Beth's trip. During the trip, Beth enjoys State Department security. Her security sets the rules on the plane. If she suspects anything, she must report it, and she is not allowed to drink alcohol. And Beth makes fun of those principles. The tournament is very well organized. The Russians take this opportunity very seriously. Ironically, in the audience, there is a Russian female champion who never faces men. It's easier for Beth in the first round. She tries to adjust to the culture there. It's not like Paris where she can spend money on shopping and drinking. She also sees how many people play chess in Russia. It's part of their culture. The more matches she wins, the more popular she is with the locals and they come to get Beth's autograph. Beth continues to beat the older players. In one game, the match has to be postponed due to overtime. Before leaving the room, she sees Borgaf and her opponent, who are planning to defeat Beth. Beth comes to her room and practices tricks. When the game starts again, Beth beats her opponent. The opponent tells him that Beth is the best chess player. One night, Beth goes to bed and misses her real mother. Beth then throws the pills into the toilet. This is a great moment for Beth as she begins to recognize her past. In the final, she is playing against Borgaf again. The crowd is very large. She is forcing Borgaf to play against her style, and Borgaf suddenly gives up. Before heading to Beth's room, the journalist asks her questions and then Towns appears and gets her attention. They both hug each other. Towns tells Beth that Beth has broken his heart. They both forgive each other for the past and the confusion they have faced. She tells Beth Township that she needs drugs and alcohol to win. The next morning, Benny and Harry and her friends call Beth to explain their strategy for defeating Borgaf. And Beth is very happy. The final game is back, and it's as tense as ever. Borgaf does a beetle nut trick that doesn't surprise Beth completely. She takes a deep breath, looks at the ceiling and imagines the rest of the chess moves. Everyone gets confused about what she's doing. Then she does a trick. Borgaf suddenly looks nervous and his face shows signs of defeat. He offers a draw that he rarely does, But Beth does not accept the draw. She makes her last move, and she looks surprised because she knows what she's just achieved. A small smile spread across Borgoff's face, and he said, "This is your game." He resigned. He accepts defeat beautifully and embraces Beth. Beth is praised and applauded throughout the hall. Beth would have been happy with her victory. Her security guard tells her that the president has invited her to the White House and that it is great that she has defeated the Russians in her own game. Beth asks if she can get out of the car and walk. Her security guard says she will miss such a flight. She walks through Moscow and sees a lot of old people playing chess. They all stand up and shake his hand. She decides to play chess with one of them, and this is where the series ends.